The value of time, a lesson for Arjun. In a small village, there was a boy named Arjun, known for his intelligence and excellent academic performance. Everyone admired his sharp mind and quick thinking. However, Arjun had one major weakness. He did not know how to manage his time properly. Instead of focusing on his studies, he spent most of his time playing with friends, indulging in mobile games, and engaging in meaningless conversations. Despite his parents' constant reminders about the importance of time, Arjun ignored their advice. He always thought, I have plenty of time. I can study later. Let me enjoy life first. This careless attitude led him to neglect his studies. He failed to realize that each passing day was a lost opportunity. He believed he could make up for it later, unaware that time, once lost, can never be regained. While his friends studied diligently to achieve good grades, Arjun continued wasting his time. He had no idea that his actions would soon lead to serious consequences. A harsh lesson about the value of time awaited him. The final school exams took place, and the results were announced. To his shock, Arjun scored far below expectations, much worse than before. He was no longer the brilliant student everyone once praised. His teachers, who had been proud of him, were now disappointed. Even his friends distanced themselves, no longer seeing him as a role model. When Arjun returned home, he saw his parents looking at his report card with sadness. They did not scold him, but their silence was more painful than any reprimand. At that moment, Arjun finally realized his mistake. He felt angry at himself, regretting all the time he had wasted. However, despite knowing he was wrong, Arjun didn't know where to start changing. His lazy habits were deeply ingrained, and the sense of being lost made him even more anxious. Feeling helpless, Arjun decided to seek advice from his grandfather, a wise and respected elder in the village. Hoping to find answers, he shared all his worries with him. After listening to Arjun, his grandfather smiled and gently said, "The problem is not that you are not smart or capable, but that you have taken time for granted." He explained that time is the most valuable asset. If used wisely, it leads to success, but if wasted, it becomes the greatest obstacle. Confused, Arjun asked, "But Grandpa, we always have time, don't we? If I don't do something today, I can always do it tomorrow, right?" His grandfather became serious and replied, "No, my child. Time is like the flowing water of a river. Once it passes, it never returns." To help Arjun understand better, he decided to tell him a story about a wealthy king who had wasted his time. A story that could completely change the way Arjun viewed the value of time. The grandfather began telling the story of a rich king named Vikram. The king possessed immense wealth, grand palaces, and countless servants. However, he had a terrible habit. He wasted his time. Each day, instead of attending to his royal duties, the king slept late, spent time with his friends, and postponed important decisions. He always said, "I have plenty of time. I can do it tomorrow." One day, a wise sage visited the palace and said, "Your Majesty, you have everything, yet you are wasting the most precious treasure, time. If you continue like this, one day you will regret it." The king laughed at the sage's warning and continued his carefree life. But as the years passed, his youth faded, his health declined, and his kingdom weakened. When he finally realized his mistake, he searched for the sage to seek his advice, but the wise man had disappeared. It was only then that the king truly understood. No amount of gold or wealth could buy back lost time. Time was the most valuable treasure of all. Hearing the story of King Vikram, Arjun fell into deep thought. For the first time, he understood the true importance of time and the severe consequences of wasting it. He had always assumed he could delay things, but now he realized that time, once gone, would never return. Arjun turned to his grandfather and asked, "Is it too late for me to change? Do I still have a chance to turn things around?" His grandfather smiled warmly and said, "Of course not, my child. The wheel of time never stops. If you start using your time wisely from today, you can still achieve anything you desire. But remember one crucial lesson: never procrastinate. Whatever you can do today, don't postpone until tomorrow." His grandfather's words awakened something in Arjun. From that day on, he resolved to change. He created a structured schedule, allocated time for his studies, exercised regularly, and avoided distractions. The results were not immediate, but over time, Arjun saw himself improving. In the next exam, he topped his class. Later, he became a successful businessman, inspiring many with his story. Using time wisely is the key to success.